Everything's going wrong today. Everything's going wrong today. My microphone that's plugged in the back of the computer. It's a what do you call it? A jack plug, right? It's a jack plug, not USB, and it's got dirty contacts on it for some reason. Yeah, well, you know why? It's a plug, a jack plug that came from China. Say no more. And they have a rivet. They have a rivet on the ground tag, which goes to the body of the plug, which plugs into the back of the computer, and they develop dry connections and start crackling. And anyway, so I deleted that other video if you wonder what happened to it, because it was terrible. It was horrible, and I couldn't hear a thing I was saying. So what I was saying was, oh god, it's horrible having to redo all this again, because I can't remember now. I lost my train of thought. Russ managed to get his channel back. That's the most important thing right now, is that our friend Russ, after talking to Google, I know that a lot of people that follow my channel are also interested in what Russ is doing. rwgresearch.com is his website. So anyway, he got hacked recently, and it can happen to anybody. And for some reason, they seem to go after the big channels, the channels that got many subscribers, because these hackers or whatever are trying to make money out of some scam crap, right? Anyway, he's managed to get, Google has managed to get his channel back, and he's still got a few issues to work through, and obviously he was going through an extremely stressful situation. I can understand it. I can definitely understand that, because yeah, that's kind of what a lot of us go through when all our life's work, when you spent 20 years or 15 years or whatever it is making YouTube videos, you can't do that again. You can't bring it back. You can't replicate it. You just can't redo it all. I mean, it's everything that you've worked towards. It's all the stress, all the time's gone into making videos. People don't understand. A lot of people just don't understand the amount of time that people put in to make videos. It's huge. I'll give you an example. When I do a drone video that might be 10 minutes long or 15 minutes long, there's an awful lot of work goes into that, editing and adding music or cutting out stuff that you don't want in the video, like people's faces. You can spend 6 hours easy. You can easily spend 6 hours editing a 10-minute video, right? So you work that out. I mean, if Russ has got thousands of hours of videos, you're talking about billions of hours of possibly work that's gone into making those videos, or trillions. Anyway, so at least he's managed to get his channel back. That's brilliant. But as for me, I've got another issue. My computer's dying, and at the moment I can't afford to repair it because I haven't got the money, and I'm struggling to pay my bills, my energy bills, because there's an energy crisis here in the West, in the Europe. You must have seen the news about the blackouts that they're having in France, and yeah. Well, there's a huge energy crisis going on right now, and our energy bills are soaring. They're going through the roof, and people can't afford to pay their bills. And I'm pretty much caught in that situation where I can't afford to pay my bills because they're putting prices up. And when you're in that situation where you're trying to pay your bills, everything becomes a priority. It's about living, it's about surviving, it's about staying alive, basically. And so when your computer starts to glitch out on you, when you can't afford to buy another computer, then that's it. So I was saying earlier in the other video, the capacitors are important because they smooth out the transients. You know what transients are? I'm not talking about homeless people. I'm talking about erroneous signals on the data lines. Signals that are not supposed to be there. Capacitors smooth those out, get rid of them. They filter out the noise. Now when a capacitor fails or is failing, it usually starts to fail when it's cold. Now I can talk about what happened back in the 1970s to give you an example, a bit of an example of what happened. But in the 1970s and even the 1960s, 90% of TV repairs were related to capacitors that failed in the cold winter months, especially in Europe and UK, in cold temperatures where you get snow. That was the biggest problem. The electrolysis, the actual chemistry of a capacitor will actually deteriorate in cold temperatures. So they become less effective, less functional in cold temperatures. So cooling them down is not a good idea when they're actually on the way out, because you actually make the problem worse. However, when a capacitor is in good health and it's new and it's got a good lifespan on it, keeping them cool is very good because it reduces the evaporation of the electrolyte and it prolongs their life. But when a capacitor, an electronic component like a computer, when it's mostly expended its life, when most of its life cycle has already been used up because it's been baked over many hours of use, then cooling it down is not a good idea because you're asking for trouble. You could scramble the data flow while your actual machine's in fully operational use. You can cause major digital corruption, data line corruption, which can totally fry your BIOS, your CPU, everything, your graphics, because that's when everything's switched on and engaged and functioning and all the signals are transferring through the CPU. So when a capacitor fails while the machine is in full flow, that spells disaster. Now, somebody was recently telling me, oh, put a fan on it, cool it down. No. If you've got a capacitor that's failing and it's dried out, don't cool it down if it's working while it's working, because you might inherently cause the ripple to come back and scramble all your data lines, and that's it, computer dead computer. But when the capacitor is new and young and full of electrolyte, and yeah, keep them cool, because cool prolongs their life. It prolongs their life cycle. But once, as I say, once it's dried out, and there's not much electrolyte left in it, you cool it right down, and you freeze it, you could cause data corruption, and that's not good because it can scramble everything in your machine, can cause your BIOS even to get erased or destroyed by corrupted data flows, and all sorts of weird stuff goes on, and it's unpredictable. It's very unpredictable. It's chaos. Um, so what I'm saying right now is I made a prediction a few years back. I think it was, I don't know, it's 8 years ago, maybe it was 6 years ago, that I might not be around in 2026. And at the time I thought, oh, maybe I'm going to die or something, right? So I made a video that goes live in 2026. I thought, well, maybe that's because I'm not going to be around. But maybe it's not that. Maybe it's because my freaking computer's going to die, not me. And if that's the case, then I can't do any more videos. I've still got my phone, but if we have these blackouts keep getting worse, which seems to be happening all across Europe right now, if these blackouts continue to get worse, then well, who knows what's going to happen. I mean, the grid could go down, you know. Anything can happen. We just don't know right now, because in Europe everything's kind of on the verge of collapse right now, because they're all talking, oh, we're in for a really bad time, and the politicians don't know what they're doing. They don't know squat. They're making a hash of everything, and all this net zero stuff. I mean, yeah, it's just it's got crazy. It's really got crazy right now. So I don't know. You're going to say, well, you fix stuff. Why don't you fix your computer? Well, that's the problem, because a lot of this stuff is surface mount, and I don't have a microscope. You need a freaking microscope. You need surface mount technology. And you know how much that stuff costs now? It's actually got even more expensive. It recently cost about $1,000 or £1,000 for a microscope. Well, it's just gone up twice that. It's now 2,000. Apparently because of the China, because of the recent tariffs that have been imposed on China recently by Mr. Trump in the US. China suddenly put their prices way up, and it makes it even more impossible for anyone like me to even consider buying a microscope. And you can't fix electronics these days without a freaking microscope, because 90% of it, well, 80% maybe, I don't know, most of it anyway is surface mount. It's minuscule, tiny little components that you can't even barely see, right? And you can't fix this stuff. You can't measure this stuff properly while it's in circuit, because you're measuring everything else that's in line or connected to it. You have to take this stuff out to measure it, to find the fault, before you can fix it to put a replacement part in, and that's the problem. That is the problem. If it's a main component like a capacitor, a big capacitor, that's, you're talking about 5mm diameter or something, or 3mm diameter, quite a decent sized one, maybe I could pull it out. Maybe I could piggyback something on the back and hopefully find the right one and put one in parallel to it and sort my problem out. Well, we'll have to find out, because I don't know what else I can do right now. But at some point I'm going to have to, at some point my computer's going to die completely and I can't boot it at all, because at the moment it's taking me five or six attempts to get it to boot. Because when you switch it on, it's stone cold. It's so freaking cold. The electrolyte in the bad capacitor, wherever it may be, is not allowing the computer to post boot. I could stick a hairdryer in the back and warm it up. I could warm it up maybe, and that would help me to get it started. But I'm on borrowed time. Everything's on borrowed time right now. And I said in my other video, all my other computers are all old. They're too old. I can't even put them on the internet. They're 32-bit, and a lot of them are Windows XP. I've actually got two other working computers that are too old. One's a Celeron. That must be 40 years old. That's got no chance. Absolutely no chance of going on the internet, because It's on the it's just barely above 16-bit. It's actually just on 32-bit, but it used to be. The older computers they were like 16-bit, and then they upgraded them to 32-bit. It's so friggin' old. It would totally trash it if I tried to put it on the internet. It lags out just with loading stuff like Skype, or it used to use Skype, but it lagged out with that. Can't do anything on it really. Could use it as a basic word processor or something like that, but that's about it. I have got my other one, my other Asus machine, which I have a motherboard for, and I still haven't got around to putting the little motherboard in that yet, and that's no good for Second Life. It's no good for watching videos on YouTube. Not anymore, since they changed the script. It used to be Flash, but now it's something else, and I think it's H264 something. I don't think it could handle that. So anyway, there's all sorts of weird stuff going on. I just don't know what to do right now. As I say, I haven't got the money to buy another motherboard, and then it's not just the motherboard, it's the freaking all the extra stuff you need to go with it, the memory, the CPU. There's all the other stuff that has to go on top of that. So you're talking about probably 600 quid probably just to build another machine out of all the various parts you need to get. Probably the only thing that's good in that machine right now, apart from the motherboard, is the graphics card, but that wouldn't be any good for a newer, more modern motherboard, because the motherboards have changed the layout, the different architecture. So anyway, I'm just glad that Russ has managed to get his channel back. I'm just so happy for him, because oh my god, he was having a stressful time. I can imagine the stress. He's going to have to take some real major security steps now to lock down his channel so that no one can do this to him again. He's going to have to do something to make sure he's not going to get compromised again, because somebody's obviously trying to use his channel. Anyway, I'm just glad that he's back, but as for me, I don't know yet. I just don't know. I don't know what's going on with my computer. Could die tomorrow and that be it. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.